Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to another Python tutorial class. And in this class, we are going to dive even deeper into the typecasting process. So you can use the list function also for typecasting. Okay, and that's what it will do. The list function it will convert to the list. And what is the requirement here? Requirement is always in here for the list function, always pass an iterable to the list. Okay. So the format will be list function, and inside this you will have to pass an iterable. And what are the iterables? Iterables are like string, list, tuple, dictionary, set, frozen set, and range. All right. So for example, here this is the variable str1, and inside this you have this word which is a string, and the word is programming. So if you print str1, you see this entire string, there is the word programming is printed. Now you pass this variable str1 to the list function and store it in the and the result will be stored in L1 variable and print L1 comma type L1. So that shall give you each and every component of that particular variable str1. In that variable str1, what is the thing, what is stored? A string value is stored, which is the word programming, and when you basically pass it to the list function, then each and every letter of the word programming shall be printed, like P, okay, comma R, then comma O, then your G, then R, A, M, I, N, G. So each and every letter of the word programming shall be treated as a separate component, and that will be printed here by the list. So how many components are there in the list? Like 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay. Similarly, if you want to store another word like a string value word analytic in the variable str1 and print str1, you get this word printed analytic. Now you pass it to the function list. What you will pass? This particular variable where the string value analytic is stored, and then you print L1 comma type L1 because you're storing the result in L1. So list will be printed ultimately. And what will this list do? The list will treat this particular string value word, the string value word, as as an iterable, and each and every component of this word analytic will be treated as a separate component, and that's what will be printed. A, then N, then A, L, Y, T, I, C. Okay, because ultimately a string is an iterable only. So to the list function, you have to pass an iterable. In case of string, each and every letter of a particular word shall be treated as a separate component, and that's what will be printed. Okay, so just run this, shift enter. Next, moving on to this particular cell, here you have a tuple. A tuple is also an iterable, and inside this tuple you have got these values 12, 22, 34, 45, 55, and print t1 comma type t1 will print the tuple only, and then you basically pass this this t1 is ultimately a variable where it stores the tuple. You pass this variable t1 to the list function, and result is stored in L1 and print L1 comma type L1. It shall print you. Ultimately, it will give you a list. And what will happen? This tuple, initially this tuple now is converted to a list. Okay, same numbers we have got 12, 22, 34, 45, 55, but now they are stored in a list. Okay, so this list function will now be able to convert the tuple to a list. And in case of a list function, you have to pass an iterable. And just run this. Then next you have this particular cell. Here you have the variable a1, and inside this you have a dictionary. In case of dictionary, we need to give curly braces. So at opening you have a curly brace, at closing position you have a curly brace, and inside this what we have to pass? Keys to value pairs. So keys to value is this one, 10 is to 111, where 10 is key, 111 is the value, comma. This is the second keys to value pair, where 20 is the key and 222 is the value, comma. Then the third keys to value pair, where 30 is the key and 333 is the value, comma. The fourth keys to value pair, where 40 is the key, 444 is the value. And you can print this a1 comma type a1, and your dictionary, that is dict, will be printed. And now pass this particular dictionary is also an iterable. So pass this A1 to this list function and store the result in L1 and print L1 comma type L1. So what will happen? The list function now shall convert this into a dictionary. List function shall now convert this A1 into a dictionary. That is ultimately it converts A1 into dictionary. That is the components of A1. This converts into list. This list function, what it will do is that when you pass A1 to this list function, then this list function shall convert this into a list and the result will be stored in variable L1. Okay, so here you get a list and inside this what you have? Only the keys. You have only the keys. 10, 20, 30, 40. Here you see this was the key 10. Here 20 was the key. Here 30 was the key. Okay, and here 40 is the key, like this. So directly what list will do is that list will typecast this dictionary into a list, and normally only the keys will be printed, not the values directly when you go directly. So if you want to print the values of the dictionary, then you'll have to write a1 dot values. Okay, a1 dot values, and wherever there is a function you have to give this first brackets, like dot values is also a function only. Okay, this when you are giving dot and then values, then this is a function only. So this will return the values of the dictionary in the form of a list. 111, 222, 333, 444 in the form of a list. Okay, so ultimately you have to pass A1, and when you want to print the values of this A1 dictionary in the form of a list, then you have to give A1 dot values and you have to pass this entire thing into the list function, store the result in L1, and then print L1 comma type L1. What it will do? It will basically give you the list. It shall convert the dictionary into a list where the values of the dictionary are printed in the form of a list. Okay, conversion means like directly taking up the values and then forming into the list and then storing in a variable, and you can print that. So run it. Then similarly here you have another dictionary stored in this variable worker. So here you have a dictionary where you have this as the key, work underscore name is the key, Anna is the value, keys to value pair, first one. Then the second keys to value pair is this one, where work underscore age is the key and 31 is the value. Then the third keys to value pair here you have, where work underscore organization is the key, XYZ is the value, and then again you have keys to value pair where there is this one, and where income is the key, 30,000 is the value. Okay, these are again some hypothetical values taken here, like name, age, organization, income, hypothetical, just for explanation purpose. So print worker comma type worker shall give you that shall print this dictionary. Okay, this entire thing is printed to you in the form of a dictionary because it is in dictionary. Now I want to typecast it to list. So pass this dictionary worker, because worker is the variable where the dictionary is stored. So you pass this worker to this list function, store the result in L1, and print L1 comma type L1. What it will do? It will print. It will print the keys. It will just print the keys of the dictionary in the form of a list. Okay, that's what it will do. Now further, directly only we can get it like conventionally. Okay, now there is also a way where you can give this you can use this dot keys function to also get the access to the keys or print the keys of the dictionary. So what to do? Worker dot keys. Again here dot keys is a function, like after dot when you give keys, this is also a function only, and in case of function you have to pass, in case of function you have to give these opening and closing first brackets. So what I'm passing here, worker dot keys. Specifically, I'm explicitly mentioning here get the keys. Here I didn't mention about the keys, but by default the keys will be only printed, keys of the dictionary. And here I'm explicitly mentioning that you have to print the keys of the dictionary only. Okay, so worker dot keys, and I'm passing it to this list function. And for function, you have to give opening and closing first brackets and result will be stored in L1. Now print L1 comma type L1. So this list function shall do typecasting to list. It shall typecast the dictionary to list, and it shall print, it shall return only the keys of the dictionary in the form of a list. Okay, so as you can see here, in both the cases, like here as well as here, in both the cases we are getting the list only, where the keys are only printed, and the difference being here that here we didn't mention anything, and still the keys got printed, and here we are explicitly mentioning keys function and the keys are being displayed. Okay, so normally in this scenario, this direct thing works much better because you don't have to write explicitly dot keys. Okay, and again we have already seen that if you have to just print the values of the dictionary, then what you have to do? Variable name where the dictionary is stored, dot values, and this dot values is a function. That's why you have to give here opening and closing first brackets, and then pass this entire thing worker dot values inside the list function, so that the list function can do typecasting to the list. Okay, it shall typecast the dictionary to the list, and store the results in L1, print L1 comma type L1. So what will happen here? We shall get the list only, we shall get list only where the values of the dictionary are present. Okay, the values of the dictionary the values of the dictionary are now typecasted into a list where you get the list. Okay, uh, so this is how list function does the typecasting. Further, here you have a set. In case of set, we know again you have to pass this curly braces, opening curly brace, closing curly brace. Inside this, you have to give some values. Okay, not keys to value pairs. That will be for dictionary. So here the values are like 11, okay, 11, 22, 11, 33, 44. We already know in case of set, duplicate values are not allowed. That is, in case of set, even if you keep duplicate values, but when you will print, then the duplicate values will be gone. So when you print S1 comma type S1, you see extra 11 is gone from here. 33 is present, never repeated. 11 is present only once. It was initially here given twice, like here first, then here second. This was the duplicate 11 that got removed while printing. So 11 is there only once. Then comma 44, 44 was present initially only once. 22, 22 was present initially only once. Okay, and this you get in the form of a set. And for typecasting, you can use this list function and pass the set one s. You can pass the set s1 to this list function, so that the list function can typecast this set to a list. Okay, store the results in L1 and print L1 comma type L1, and that shall give you the values of the set in the form of a list. So typecasting has been done from set to list. Okay, you can run this, and I think we ran this one also. Yeah. Then set is also iterable. Then here again you have suppose having this variable f1. Inside this I'm using frozen set. Okay, frozen set, and inside frozen set we always have to pass an iterable only. We know inside frozen set we always have to pass an iterable. So this is frozen set, starting brace, and this is the opening, this is the closing brace. Inside this you have to pass a iterable. Here the iterable that I've taken here is a list. Okay, we know list like square brackets you have in case of a list, like here you have opening square bracket, you have here you have closing square bracket. Inside this pass the values 11, 22, 11, 33, 44. Okay, and frozen set also does not print, but that is, while passing here you can give duplicate values, but when you will print the frozen set, just like set only, duplicate values will be prohibited. And just like set, frozen set is also random. This I have explained in the previous videos, so if you have not checked them out, then you can check them out. Now print f1 comma type f1 shall give you the frozen set. This is the form of frozen set originally. That is, frozen set is written frozen set function. Here you have the opening bracket, then here you have the closing bracket. Inside this you have the curly braces, and inside the curly braces, like opening, and here you have the closing curly brace. Inside this values are stored randomly, and duplicate values are prohibited. So you see 33, 11, 44, 22, where the duplicate 11 is gone. Now again for typecasting, use the list function, and inside this list function you can pass this variable f1 so that the list function is able to typecast the frozen set to list, store the result in L1, and you print L1 comma type L1. So ultimately here you get the typecasted list, that is 33, 11, 44, 22. All of them are stored in the form of a list. So these are typecasting can be done from frozen set to list. And similarly, in case of range also, like you can run this cell. Yeah. Now again, here I have range. Range is also an iterable, and inside the range, what I'm passing 1 comma 14. You know where 1 is what? 1 is the start value, and 14 is the stop value. Range also we have discussed in our previous class, previous classes. Okay, so please check them out. And here no step size is mentioned here, so by default one will be taken as step size. So ultimately if you print ran comma type ran, then what will happen, this range only will be printed, because ultimately this range I'm storing in this variable ran. So this range will only be printed 1 comma 14 class range. And when you want to access the values of the range, there is a series of numbers, integer numbers generated by the range. Then you can pass this variable ran to the list function, and store the results in L1, and then print L1 comma type L1. What it will do, it shall print the series of numbers, the series of integer numbers of this range, which will be from 1 to 13, because the step size is by default 1 here. So the start value is 1. So it will start with 1, then 1 plus 1 2, then 2 plus 1 3, 3 plus 1 4, 4 plus 1 5, like this dot 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 up to 13 it shall print. 1 to 13 it shall print, and the stop value, the last value, that is 14, that is excluded in the case of a range. We know that. So here it prints in the form of a list. So here typecasting is done from range to list, and run this. Yeah. And the rule is, in case of a list function typecasting, when you want to typecast to list, you have to pass an iterable only. So now you see here n1 is equals to 12. This is an integer value, which is not here. N1 is equals to 12, and this is not an iterable. It is integer, float. These are not iterables. Okay, integer is not an iterable. Float is not an iterable. Now print n1 comma type n1. You see 12 is printed, which is of class int. Now you pass this n1 variable inside this list function, and print the result, and you see you get type error, because for typecasting in the form of a list using the list function, you have to pass an iterable inside the list function. And here I am passing an integer which is not an iterable. That's why I'm getting the error. Okay. Then same thing you get here also, like n1 is equals to 5.5. It is a float. It is a float number, decimal point number. Okay. When you print n1 comma type n1, you get 5.5, which is of class float, and then pass this variable n1 to this list function for typecasting into list, and store the result in L1, and print L1 comma type L1. You see you get again a type error. Why? Because it says specifically here that float object is not an iterable, just like it's stated here, int object is not an iterable. Okay. Then you can similarly check this out with complex number also. N1 is equals to 22 plus 55j, where complex number is also not an iterable. Okay. Print n1 comma type n1, and you get your complex number here, and pass this n1 variable to the list function for typecasting to list, and print the result, and you shall get error, because what, complex object is not an iterable. That's why here typecasting is not possible. Okay. Then you can use the tuple function also for typecasting into tuple. Okay, you can use the tuple function also for typecasting into tuple. That's what it says. Converts to tuple. Here also iterable is required. Previously, the typecasting was happening to list. Now typecasting will happen to tuple. Okay. Now again the same thing. Here you have this variable str1, where inside this I am storing this string value word, that is programming. Okay. And print str1 type str1 length str1 shall give you this string value only, that is programming. Okay. And what is its value? Like you see, programming is printed. It belongs to the string data type, that is str, and length of the string is 11. We know how to calculate the length of a string. Each and every letter shall be considered as a component of the string value. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's why the length is here 11. Now typecast it to tuple. So pass this variable str1 to this tuple function, store the result in L1, and print L1 comma type L1 length L1. What it will do? It shall convert this entire thing. It shall convert this entire thing, that is string value, into tuple. That is, it shall typecast the string to tuple. So here you see, just like list here, each and every letter of the word shall be treated as a separate component, and that's what will be printed. P, then you have R, then you have O, then you have G, okay, then you have R, then you have A, then M, then you have M, I, N, G, okay. So here each and every letter of the word shall be treated as a separate component, and that's what will be printed. And you can see here the class is tuple, that is typecasting has been done from string to tuple. And here what is the length here? Ultimately 11. Okay, that is each and every letter is treated here as a separate component, so there are 11 letters inside this. Okay, that's why the length of this particular L1 is 11. And in same way you can pass another string value like analytic, and store it in this variable str1. And when you do print str1 comma type str1 length str1, it shall just print this string value word which is analytic, and what data type it belongs to, str data type, that is string. And what is the length of the string? 8, because ultimately how many components or how many letters are there in this word? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now you pass this variable str1 to this tuple function so that it can enable it, so that it can do the typecasting from string to tuple, and store the result in L1, print L1 comma type L1 length L1, and shall do here the conversion, that is typecasting from string to tuple. Here you see tuple is formed here. It belongs to this class tuple data type tuple. And what is the length here? 8, because here ultimately each and every letter, or each and every letter of the word shall be treated as a separate component. A, then N, then A, then L. Already 4 components, then Y, then T, 6 components, then I, then C, total 8 components. And in case of a tuple, values are stored inside the first brackets and separated from each other by commas. Okay, just run this. And these become very handy when you will solve your machine learning problems, very handy. Now there is another variable t1 here, and inside this I'm storing a list. Okay, list, square brackets. Inside this we are giving these values 12, 22, 33, 34, 45, 55. Print this t1 comma type t1, you get this list, and the data type data type is printed as list only. Okay, that is when you will print t1 comma type t1, then this list is only printed. And here it belong type t1 will give you what data type it belongs to, and it belongs to list. Okay, and for typecasting, now I want to typecast this list to tuple. So t1 pass t1 variable inside this tuple function, and store the output in this variable L1, and print L1 comma type L1. What it will do? It shall typecast this list to tuple. So here you see you have opening first bracket, and here you have closing first bracket. Inside this the values are there, and what data type it belongs to? Tuple. So type conversion, that is typecasting, has been done here from list to tuple using the tuple function. And again, just like your dictionary only, here I am having this dictionary A1. Inside this you have these keys to value pairs. 10 is to 111, 10 is the key, 111 is the value, 20 is to 222, 20 is the key, 222 is the value, 30 is to 333, where 30 is the key, 333 is the value, 40 is to 444, where 40 is the key, 444 is the value, and when you print this a1 comma type a1, ultimately you will get your dictionary. Okay, and that it belongs to class dict, means dictionary data type. Now for typecasting, you want to typecast this dictionary into a tuple. So pass this a1 variable inside this tuple function, store the result in l1, and print l1 comma type l1. When you will do, you will see that here typecasting has been done from dictionary to tuple. Okay, data type is tuple here. Class tuple means data type is tuple. Inside this, what you will have just the keys. Inside this, you will just have the keys of the dictionary, not the values. By default, that's what it happens here. Okay. So in order to get the values of the dictionary also, what you can do here is use this tuple function, and then inside this tuple function, when you give this opening bracket and this closing bracket, inside this you have to pass this variable a1, and then give this dot operator, and then mention this function values. Okay, so this here you're explicitly mentioning that you want to access the values of the dictionary, and store the results in L1. And when you will print L1 comma type L1, what will happen? You will get the values of the dictionary: 111, 222, 333, 444, and these are now stored in the form of a tuple. Okay, so the type L1 shall give you what data type it belongs to, which is your tuple. Class tuple means the data type. Okay, so typecasting has been done from, dictionary to tuple. And same example, that's the same example that I used for typecasting from, dictionary to list. That same example I'm using here for typecasting from dictionary to tuple. You have this variable worker. Inside this, you have this dictionary. Already we have seen this, the like work underscore name. Here work underscore name is to Anna, keys to value pair, where work underscore name is the key and Anna is the value. Then second keys to value pair is this one, work underscore age comma 31, where is to 31, where work underscore age is the key, 31 is the value. Then third key is to value pair, where work is to organize, work underscore organization is the key, and xyz is the value of this key. And then the fourth key is to value pair. Here you have income, where income is the key, and 30,000 is the corresponding value of this key. Okay, so here you have four keys to value pairs, four keys and four values. And when you will print worker comma type worker, then that shall print you this entire dictionary only. Class dict means which data type it belongs to. Pass this worker variable to this tuple function. So what it will do, it will typecast this dictionary into tuple and store the results in T1, print T1 comma type T1. And here what you will get, here you will get the keys inside the tuple. Ultimately class tuple means this type tuple, it shall give you the data type, which data type it belongs to. It is your class tuple data type. And here you will have tuple opening bracket and closing bracket. Inside this you have these values of the, inside this you have the dictionary components. What dictionary components? Only the keys of the dictionary. Okay, explicitly, if you want to mention that I want the keys, here I didn't mention explicitly anything about keys, but by default it directly gave the keys of the dictionary. If you want to explicitly mention about keys, then again the same thing you have to do. First of all, take this variable t1 is equals to, then mention the tuple function, and for tuple function you have to give these opening and closing first brackets. Inside this you have to pass this variable worker dot keys function. Okay, this is your dot, then you give the keys function. So what will happen ultimately? The keys of the dictionary you are explicitly mentioning here, which will be stored, uh, which will be stored in the form of a tuple. The result will be stored in the variable t1. So print t1 comma type t1. When you will do, again you will get the same thing, just like here you got. Okay, the same thing here also you will get. What you will get here, you will get tuple, and inside this tuple you will have the keys of the dictionary. And here you can see explicit, this as class tuple means this is the output of this type t1. Type t1 gives this result, that class tuple means the output that I am getting here is nothing but of tuple data type. Okay, and T1. When T1 is printed, when T1 is printed, then T1 stores the tuple only, and inside this you will have the keys of the dictionary. So work underscore name, work underscore age, work organization, income, all the keys of the dictionary printed here in the form of a tuple. Now, if you want to access the values of the dictionary, okay, this is the dictionary. If you want to access the values of the dictionary, then use this tuple function. Inside this, you have to pass worker dot values and store the results in T1 and print T1 comma type T1. It shall print the values of the dictionary in the form of a tuple. Here we get the values Anna, which is the value of which key? Work underscore name, isn't it? This work underscore name. This is the key and its value is Anna. Work underscore age. What is the age of the worker? These are hypothetical values that I have taken here for explanation purposes. What is the age of the worker? 31. Work underscore organization is a key that in which organization a particular employee works. I've used here a hypothetical value of organization that is XYZ. Here work underscore name meant what is the worker name? What is the name of the worker? It is nothing but your Anna. Okay. Worker's age is 31. In which organization the worker works? XYZ. Then here income is the key and 30,000 is its value. So that means what is the income of the worker? What is the income of the worker? It is 30,000. Okay. So these values are printed here and being typecasted into a tuple, and that's why here you get class tuple. Okay, because when you will print t1 comma type t1, for t1 you will get this tuple, and type t1 shall give you what data type it belongs to, this output, which is your tuple data type. Okay, so you can run this, shift enter, and again you can pass set frozen set just like we passed. Here you have that particular set only s1. Inside this you have 11, 22, 11, 33, 44, duplicate value 11. When you will print this set, it will be omitted out. When you print this s1 comma type s1, ultimately you will get set. Okay, belongs to set data type, and the duplicate 11 is gone. And if you want to do typecasting this set into tuple format, then you have to use the tuple function. Inside this, pass s1, store the results in l1, print l1 comma type l1, that shall do the typecasting this set into tuple format. So here you get the values of the set in the form of a tuple. Okay, just run this. Then here you can use the frozen set, and inside the frozen set also you have to pass an iterable. So what iterable I'm passing here? I'm passing here a list. List is an iterable. Inside this frozen set, I'm passing the list as an iterable. Inside this list, you have got 11, 22, 11, 33, 44. So there is one duplicate value, which is your 11. So when you will print this f1 comma type f1, frozen set in its original format will be printed, and the numbers are arranged in a random order, no specific ordering. This we have discussed previously. And the class is frozen set, that means data type is frozen set, and duplicate 11 is omitted out. Now pass this f1 to this tuple function and store the result in L1. Okay, and print L1 comma type L1. When you will do, L1 will be printed. So you will get tuple having the frozen set values 33, 11, 44, 22, and the class is tuple, data type is tuple. So run this, shift enter, and then you come to this range function. Okay, ran is equals to range. Here you see, here you have this range which is an iterable, and 2 comma 41 comma 2. It means what? In case of range, if you remember, you have the format as start value, then stop value, and then the step. So here what is the start value? 2. What is the stop value? 41. And stop value is always excluded in case of a range. So whatever is before the stop value, that will be taken into consideration. Stop value will be excluded out. And what is the step size? That is 2. So that means increment will happen by 2 only. So it will start with 2, then 2 plus 2 4, then 4 plus 2 6, 6 plus 2 8, 8 plus 2 10, 10 plus 2 12, 12 plus 2 14, like this, dot dot dot. It will go just before the stop value. That means it will go just before 41. Just before 41 you have 40. Okay, so ultimately when you will print ran comma type ran, then shall give you range 2 comma 41 comma 2, and the data type is range, that is class range. And now if you want to do typecasting. If you want to do typecasting, that is here by mistake I have written list. It should be tuple. It should be tuple. Okay. And so when you are passing this ran variable, where ran comprises of this range, you're passing this ran variable inside the tuple function. That means you're trying to do what? You're trying to do typecasting. Typecasting from what? You're trying to typecast this range into a tuple and then store the result in L1 and then print L1 comma type L1. So L1 will be printed first, and that will give you what? It shall give you tuple. It shall give you tuple. Opening bracket, closing bracket. Inside this, you will have the series of numbers generated by the range, starting with 2, incrementing by 2, and uh, going just up to before the stop value. That is, what is the stop value? 41. 41 stop value will be excluded. So the series will go up to 40. That is just before the stop value. 40 comes before the stop value 41. Okay, so this entire thing you're getting in the form of a tuple, and the type L1 will give you what? Class tuple. That is the data type is tuple. Okay, this output is in the form of a tuple. Now again, when you are trying to do typecasting, when you are trying to typecast anything into the form of a tuple, then you have to ensure that you are passing an iterable. Okay, now here again, just like in list we did, here n1 is equals to 100. It is an integer. It is an integer. Is it an iterable? It is not an iterable. So when you are passing n1 variable inside this tuple function, and you are trying to do typecasting, storing the result in t, print t comma type t, then you will get an error, because what it mentioned here, int object is not an iterable. Okay, same thing happens with boolean, like n1 is equals to false. Boolean, is it an iterable? It is not an iterable. It is just a basic data type, but it is not an iterable. So when you're trying to do typecasting tuple, and then inside this you're passing this variable n1 and run this cell, you see bool object is not an iterable. And same happens with your non data type. Inside n1 variable you're passing this, you're storing this non data type, and then typecasting it in the form of a tuple. And when you're trying to print the result, you get error, because none is not an iterable. Okay. And inside tuple, when you are giving a string value like this, like say 100 is the value, but it is stored in the form of a string, because you're enclosing it within the quotes. So when you will print it, tuple will, just like your list will print each and every character of a word. List will print each and every component of a string. Tuple will also do the same thing. It will print each and every character of a word. That means it will print each and every component of a string. So in this case, in case of string, this 1 is a component, then this 0 is a component, there is the second 0, then this last 0 is also component. There are 3 components inside this string. So when you are doing this typecasting in the tuple, you see 1 printed separately, then 0 printed separately, then last 0 printed separately. Okay, and then you have this dict function. Dict function will do what? As you can understand from the name, dict function will do typecasting into dictionary format. Okay, you pass something into the dict function, and the dict function shall do the typecasting, that is, shall do the conversion into the dictionary format. So that's what I've written here in bullet points. Converts to dictionary. Here also iterables required. Here also iterables required. And there is an additional rule here, that is, the iterable passed to it. To it means to the dictionary, must have an inner iterable. So in reality, inside the dict function, you will have to pass 2 iterables. One is the outer iterable, and another one will be the inner iterable. Definitely the inner iterable will be inside the outer iterable. So that's what I'm mentioning here. The iterable passed to it, that means passed to dict, must have an inner iterable. So 2 iterables are to be passed. Outer iterable, inside this you must have an inner iterable. The inner iterable must have 2 components. Okay, the inner iterable must have 2 components. The first component being the key, this first component will be treated as the key, and the second component being the value. The second component will be treated as the value. Okay, Now let us understand by one example. Here you're using the dict function so that you're able to do typecasting into dictionary. That is, you're able to do conversion into dictionary. And again, this is a dict function. So first you have to give this opening bracket and closing bracket. Okay, and then like if I write it here directly, that will be much more better for you. Like for example, dict. Okay, dict function. Inside this, I'm passing the first iterable which is an empty list, and inside this iterable I'm passing another iterable. Okay, so what will happen, this this will be treated as your inner iterable, which is your second empty list, and this first one will be treated as your outer iterable. Okay, the first one will be treated as your outer iterable. And again, if I say like dict function, and inside this dict function you pass this outer iterable, which is a list. Inside this you pass another iterable, which will be another list, and that will be your inner iterable. Okay, so this will be your inner iterable. This inside this second list will be your inner iterable, and this will be your outer iterable. Okay, the outer list. So you have two lists here, outer list and inner list. Outer list will be treated as the outer iterable, and inner list will be treated as your inner iterable. Okay, that's where it says the rule that two iterables must be passed, outer and inner. Inside the inner iterable, you must have two values. One value will be treated as your key, and the second value will be treated as your value. Okay, so if I pass here 1 comma 100, then 1 will be treated as this value. 1 will be treated as the key, and this 100 will be treated as the value. So just hit shift plus enter, and you see here you have curly braces, curly brace opening, curly brace closing, and inside this you have this keys to value pair, that is your 1 is to 100, where 1 is the key as given here, isn't it? And 100 is the corresponding value of this particular key. Okay, now uh, similarly here use the dict function. Okay, inside the dict function you pass this outer iterable, which is your list. Okay, and inside this you have to pass an inner iterable. Inside this you will have to pass an inner iterable. Now inner iterable can be like anything. Say I pass here 1 comma 100, 1 comma 100. If I do, then see what happens. Try to run this, and you see this will be treated as your tuple. This inner iterable will be treated as your tuple. So inside this, when you write this dict function, inside this you have to pass two iterables, outer iterable, inner iterable. Inside the inner iterable you have to give two values. Inside the inner iterable you have to give the values. First value treated as your key, second value treated as your value of the key. So first you give the outer iterable, which is a list, then give the inner iterable, which is your tuple, 1 comma 100. 1 comma 100. Okay, so this 1 will be treated as key, and this 100 will be treated as value, because inside this list you are passing this tuple. Tuple is an iterable. Here tuple is the inner iterable, list is the outer iterable, and inside this tuple, that is inside this inner iterable, I'm passing two values separated from each other by comma. First value 1 is treated as the key, second value 100 is treated as the value, and that's why you get here the dictionary 1 is to 100. Okay, then here what I'm trying to do here is passing the dict function, and then here outer iterable is this list. Okay, outer iterable is this list, and inside this you're passing this first tuple 1 comma 10, comma this another tuple you're passing 2 comma 20. So because this becomes slightly confusing, that's why I'm trying to write here dict function. Inside this you have your outer iterable, which is a list, then you give a tuple 1 comma 100. Okay, so that it shall do what, it shall treat this as key, and this 100 as the value. Okay, and you get your result, that is 1 comma 100. Now suppose I want to add another tuple inside it. Another tuple inside it. So here you give comma and then give your opening brackets, opening first brackets. Inside this you pass 2 comma 200. So this was your first keys to value pair, and this will become your second keys to value pair. Inside this you're having this key which is 2 and its corresponding value is 200. So run this, you see the first one is already there, 1 is to 100. Now the second keys to value pair, now the second keys to value pair is printed, which is 2 is to 200. Okay. So this happens inside the square brackets list. Now you what you're trying to do here is, you see, dict function in the outer iterable. Now here when you are trying to give outer iterable like this, the first brackets opening and closing, then inside this you are trying to enter your inner iterable, or that is the first brackets opening and closing. Inside this you're giving 1 comma 100. So what you're trying to mention here is the outer iterable is your tuple and the inner iterable is also a tuple. Okay. But in case of first brackets, this shall give error in Python, because it shall not be treated as an iterable but rather as values. But for typecasting into dictionary, here you have to pass a tuple, here you have to pass an iterable, and inter you have to make it understandable to the system that how a tuple is how a iterable is basically passed. Okay, so that's why I get an error here, because this is not treated as a tuple, not treated as an iterable, this one. Okay, so in order to make sure that is understood by the system, what you have to do here is 1 comma 10, and then you have to give comma. Okay, just to make it clear, you give dict function, inside this the outer iterable, and inside this the inner iterable, 1 comma 10. And what you're trying to mention here is that outer iterable is a tuple, inner iterable is also a tuple, and in order to make it understandable to the system that the inner iterable is also a tuple, you have to give here a comma. And now you see typecasting is done. Convert that, like here into dictionary typecasting it was done the conversion. Here also dictionary into dictionary typecasting it was done the conversion. Here also typecasting was done into dictionary format, and here also you get the result in dictionary format. Typecasting has been done to dictionary. Here we got error. Here we didn't get error because of this comma. Now outer iterable will be treated as a tuple and inner iterable will be also treated as a tuple, because to this environment these are the first brackets. There are no issues with the square brackets. In case of square brackets it easily understands the context, but in case of first brackets it gets confused. That's why in order to remove the confusion and make it clear to the system, you have to give the comma. Okay. Then similarly, here you see again, if you use this dict function and you give the outer iterable, that your intention here is that the outer iterable should be treated as a tuple, and then you give an inner iterable, and here you give 1 comma 10. If you run this cell you get type error. So in order to make it understandable to the system that outer iterable is a tuple, inner iterable is also a tuple. This confusion arises because of the presence of brackets. Because of the presence of first brackets. In case of square brackets, curly braces, there are no issues, it easily understands what you're trying to say. But in case of first brackets, it will not treat them as iterables, it will treat them as simple normal values. That's why comma becomes very important. So that's why you give here comma, and now you see outer iterable will be treated as a tuple, iterable that is. Outer iterable will be treated as a tuple, and inner iterable will also be treated as a tuple because of this comma. So this entire thing will be treated as a keys to value pair, where 1 is the key and your 10 is the value. Okay, thanks to this comma. Once this comma is given, then you can give another keys to value pair in the form of a tuple. So give so you have to write the first brackets again. So just give the first brackets here and mention your second keys to value pair, that is 2 comma 20. where 2 is key and 20 is the value. Okay, and this is another tuple. This will be now treated as another tuple because before this you have already mentioned this as a comma. So this will be treated as a tuple, and first key is to value pair. This will be also treated as a tuple, second key is to value pair, where 2 is the key and its corresponding value is 20. And if you run this cell, you get this entire dictionary. Inside this you have 1 is to 10, first key is to value pair, comma, 2 is to 20, second key is to value pair. Okay. This issue doesn't arise in case of second brackets, that is square brackets. You see, just like I mentioned here, you give the dict function, and inside this dict function you pass the outer iterable, which is a list. Then you pass the inner iterable, which is again a list. If you give here 1 comma 10, here you see no issues because of the square brackets. It doesn't get confused. But in case of first brackets, it gets confused. So you have to explicitly give the comma. This is the first keys to value pair 1 comma 10 inside this iterable list. And if you want to give another keys to value pair, there is another iterable, another inner iterable. So that means another list. That means another keys to value pair. Then just give comma. Then again give the square brackets and say 2 comma 20. Run this cell. You get your dictionary. Typecasting has been done into the dictionary format where you have the keys to value pair. First one, 1 is to 10, where 1 is the key, 10 is the value. Second keys to value pair, where 2 is the key, 20 is the value. Okay. Now here suppose this is the output required. This is the output required. That is you have to do the typecasting into the dictionary. Inside the dictionary you have to do the typecasting where the work underscore name will be the key and Anna will be the value and org will be the key, XYZ will be its value. So here you have two keys to value pairs. This is the first keys to value pair and this is the second keys to value pair. Okay, how many keys are there? This is the first key and this is the second key. And how many values how many keys are there? Work underscore name and org, two keys are there. And how many values are there? One is this one, Anna, another one is this one, XYZ. Okay. And these are hypothetical values that I've taken here. That is what is the worker's name, that is Anna, and where is in what organization the worker works, that is XYZ. So do the typecasting here. You can use the dict function. Inside the dict function, you pass your outer iterable, which is this list, and then inside this you can pass your inner iterable like tuple. Okay, like this will be treated as a tuple. Okay, here no issues will happen. Like you see, if you dict inside this dict function, you give your outer iterable, which is a list, then you give your inner iterable, you give your inner iterable, that is tuple, work underscore name, that is the key, comma, inside this tuple only, which is your inner iterable, you give the value. Since these are string values, you have to enclose in quotes. Now run this. Here you see you don't get any error. Here did I give any comma after this? After this, I didn't give any comma. Okay, still it ran. So in case of square brackets, there is no issue. In case of first brackets, you have to give the comma. Now this was the first keys to value pair. This is your first keys to value pair where the key is the work underscore name and the corresponding value is Anna. And this one is also required org is to XYZ. That means here you have to give your second key is to value pair. So I can use a tuple here that will be treated as your second inner iterable. Inside this you can give your second keys to value pair. Okay, what is the key? It is the org. Org is the key. What is the value? X, Y, Z. Run it and you get it here. Okay. Work underscore name is to Anna. Org underscore XYZ in the form of a dictionary. In this dictionary, you have this first keys to value pair. Work underscore name is to Anna. And then you have the second keys to value pair. Org is to XYZ. Okay. And simply, uh, you can pass it in the form of a set also, like dict function you take. Okay, inside this you take your outer iterable, that is a list, then you take your inner iterable, that is a set. Okay, like work underscore name, this is the key, Anna is the value. So you see, in case of set, it is totally random. It is totally random. Random means anyone will be taken as the key and anything will be taken as the value. Okay, here, as because set is random, here this value Anna has been taken randomly as key. It gets decided internally. Okay, and this work underscore name gets treated as the corresponding value. Okay, so this is the inner iterable which is in the form of a set. Okay, and if you want to pass your second inner iterable, then you can give your second set that will be treated as your second keys to value pair. Okay, so for second keys to value pair, here again you have to give your key name, which is your org, and then give its corresponding value, which is your XYZ organization name, hypothetical values, and print it. You see, here there was no issue. This randomness we can't do anything, but it becomes very handy when we are solving initialization problems. There, these random values they come in very handy. So here you see, this was the first outer iterable was the list. Outer iterable is the list. Okay, inside this I pass this first inner iterable which is in the form of a set, and that gets printed randomly, where I give the keys to value pair, that is I give the key value pair work underscore name comma Anna, but as because of randomness, this Anna is taken as the key and work underscore name is taken as the value, and then comma you give your second key value pair. So you give your second set, which is your second inner iterable. Inside this you have two components, or comma xyz, and this org is treated as the key and xyz gets treated as the value. Okay, so if you print it, and this already we have seen, like yeah, in the form of a tuple only. I think this we have already seen here. This thing we have already seen here. Just by mistake I repeated it. Okay, so I can remove this cell, escape and X. So, okay, and run this cell. Yeah. So that's it for this video, my dear friends. If you've liked this video, you can hit the like, share, and subscribe button and press the bell icon for notifications. And if you have any doubts, you can leave them in the comments. I shall answer to them. So that's it for this class. Thank you.